13 on NFL Primetime. A lucky week for the Niners, Jerry Rice, forging his way into the NFL record book. Would San Francisco have more luck than the Byrds from Philly? Not much luck for Miami's number 13, as Dan Marino was hounded by the Saints. The Bears use a young Cub to try to revive an old offense. The Bengals use an even younger Cub to try to avoid the Steelers. The Vikings stake their new offensive hopes on Sean Salisbury. The Skins rely on some old RFK magic. The Z-Man's magic finally runs out. Could the Colts actually pull a rabbit out of the Bills' hat? Week 13, superstitious? Not us. Not on NFL Primetime. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to Week 13 of ESPN's NFL Primetime. With me, as always, the cast of characters, Tom Jackson, Robin Roberts, and I think that you know some about football, and then a couple of results just astound you. Let's get you caught up on the late scores right now. A big game of the day out of Candlestick Park. It's just over, and the 49ers have withstood a late Philadelphia rally. The Eagles coming up just inches short on a fourth down play. And the Niners have defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 20-14. So San Francisco now ups its mark to 10-2. They've clinched a playoff spot. Minnesota and the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings lead at 31-17. Under 4 minutes to go in that game now in Anaheim. And in overtime, right now, Dean Biasucci's short field goal of 23 yards with 1:07 to go has put the Colts in an overtime situation with the Bills at Indianapolis. We'll keep you updated as that game goes on. We've got a pretty good game for you here tonight. Very important game. One of the hottest clubs in the AFC, the Lightning Bolts, the San Diego Chargers, against their Southern California nemesis, the LA Raiders. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann will have the game for us, and here's a preview, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chris. We're standing by at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego for an AFC West showdown between the Raiders and the Chargers. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. The Chargers are the hottest team in the AFC. Their strength has been defense. They are number 3 in the NFL, number 1 against the rush. And the players will tell you the reason has been a coach, a living legend in this game, a man by the name of Bill Arnsparger.
The thing is, he simplified things for us. And he's allowed us as football players to use our athletic ability and make plays. And hasn't made it too difficult. Hasn't tried to out-scheme other teams, but just put us in good positions and let our athleticism take over.
I'm more aware of what's going on with the offense. I watch a lot of film, and I know exactly where they want to attack. I know our defensive scheme more than I did in the past. I know where my players are going to fit and where I fit.
Those two statements may seem simplistic and basic, but yet they're the foundation of Bill Arnsparger's defense. He doesn't believe in gimmicks, and he rarely blitzes. What he does, though, is break down offensive tendencies and prepares his players to take them away. This particular play, look at the 2 corners up top and the top linebacker. Watch how they drop into their routes and close on the ball even before Vinny Testaverde has a chance to deliver it. As he sets the throw, now you see Byrd already starting to break on the in pattern, Van Horst already starting to go to the out pattern, and Junior Seau settling in the throwing lane to what is going to be a deep hook. Great anticipation by the defense, great preparation by the coach. No matter how successful a scheme is, whether it's a 46 defense or a run-and-shoot offense, given time in this league, coaches will figure out a way to beat it. And that may be the key to Bill Arnsparger's success. He doesn't rely on a scheme, he relies on players. What he tries to do is put them in the right position and let them make the plays.
All right, Joe, and this game certainly has playoff implications for both clubs, the Raiders and the Chargers, coming up after prime time. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Mike, we look forward to that one. The Chargers like to pound the ball, but Anthony Miller's been a hot receiver. Can Stan Humphries get him the ball? And can the Raiders pitch another shutout? That's our game at 8 o'clock tonight. Before we move on to football, though, every now and then you get reminded that football is a lot more than a game. One of the best defensive players on the New York Jets, Dennis Byrd, defensive lineman, suffered a serious neck injury today at home in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, the game at the Meadowlands. Byrd is being examined by the spine team at New York's Lenox Hill Hospital as we speak. Now, here's the play. Byrd and teammate Scott Mercereau attempting to sack Kansas City quarterback Craig Byrd, number 9. You see his head snap back after the collision. He's carted off. All parts of his body are being held still after being evaluated. Byrd underwent the CAT scan. Bruce Cosler.
It makes you reflect on how fragile things are and what's important and what's not. And our hopes and prayers, I'm talking about the players, management, doctors, all our staff, coaches, everybody, wishes Dennis the best, and our prayers are with him, and he's fighting it right now.
As results have become available, we will pass that along. I mean, you look at a team like the New York Jets, who had high hopes as a ball club going undefeated in the preseason. Now in the span of 3 days, their best offensive player, Al Toon, retires because of concussions and post-concussion syndrome. Their best defensive player, Loggeman, already hurt. Their next best defensive player, Dennis Byrd, we are hoping that maybe it's just a bruise and not worse news. So you get a reminder that it's a lot more than the game, and everybody's hopes and prayers, ours, yours, I'm sure, with Dennis Byrd of the New York Jets. There was action to show you on the field in Week 13. It was a defensive day around the league. Don't believe it? Ask the Bears' Peter Tom Willis, who tried to push the ball in the end zone against the Browns. Cleveland had other ideas.
Tonight's analysis is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. The Acura. Brought to you by Dollar Rent-A-Car and your local travel agent. And by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. The Colts have won the toss, have taken the ball down the field. Dean Biasucci waiting to kick a 39-yard field goal, which would give the Colts a stunning upset of the Buffalo Bills. He is not yet kicked. The Bills have called a timeout to ice him. We will keep you updated. On Primetime, many quarterback changes in Week 13. A couple of them in the game between the Bears and the Browns for two different reasons. For Cleveland, simple. Their veteran Bernie Kosar back, first time in 10 weeks. Cleveland hoping for a big finish with Bernie. For the Bears, they go with the youngster, Peter Tom Willis, hoping for anything but a bad finish. Here we go. Jim Harbaugh not starting. And Peter Tom, John Paul, George Ringo Willis in his first NFL start. Neil Anderson runs left for 6 yards. Brad musters up an 8-yard gain. But watch Neil Anderson pay right here as Stephen Moore with the shot. Browns defense under Bill Belichick stiffens to the goal line. James Jones smothers Anderson. Then Willis looking for Keith Jennings. But David Brandon steps in front of him, and he just could go all the way. Nobody's going to catch Brandon. 92 yards. Look like a Bears score. It's a Brown score. 7-0 Cleveland. Defense continues to dominate. Rob Burnett with the play. Mike Singletary flips. Touchdown Tommy Vardell. And then Vardell stood up by Dante Jones. Arlen Barnett nailed Dennis Gentry, who had to leave the game with a concussion, did not return. But after early problems, the young man, Peter Tom Willis, came back. To Colonel Muster in the flat with the football and some interference. Bears on the move in the second quarter, Tommy, until Neil Anderson runs into trouble.
Yeah, Neil Anderson here moving to his left. Clay Matthews coming from the inside, gets the good swipe with the right hand to strip the ball, and Terry Taylor recovers it.
Then Peter Tom Willis, the flip across the middle to Wendell Davis. Then Anderson redeems himself across the middle. And he zips through the Browns. Look at him, bust tackles, 38 yards. It's a 13-7 lead for Cleveland. Third quarter, some big plays. Eric Metcalf fields the punt. And forget it. I mean, just count him gone. You think Chris Gardocki's going to run down Eric Metcalf? He has returned 3 kickoffs in his career and a punt return to a career. 20-7 Cleveland. Bears, next play from scrimmage. Peter Tom Willis goes long. Not as fast as Metcalf, but Tommy Waddle waddles in. 68 yards. It's a wild game. 20-14 Cleveland. How was he open, Tommy?
You watch Waddle in the slot here. The tendency is to think he's only running the intermediate route, gets behind the defense, and he is a burner, Chris.
Bears within 6. Mike Ditka hoping the comeback. But Neil Anderson the hold to the left. And it's a fumble. The Browns converted into a touchdown by Kevin Mack. It's 27-14 Cleveland. Bears still have a shot, but the pass is tipped. And Everson Walls first interception as a Brown, number 56 lifetime. Peter Tom Willis, numbers not bad. 2 for 285 yards, but 4 turnovers did in the Bears. The Bears have lost 5 in a row. And Bernie Kosar said, I didn't even earn a shower. I was only 8 of 17 for 59 yards. But the Browns, even the mark at 6-6, winning by the count of 27-14. It was the one-time Bay of Pigs. But the Green Bay Packers have won 3 of their last 4. And in Milwaukee, Tampa always looks funny in the snowsuits in orange, don't they? Vinny Testaverde at the helm in the first quarter. Looking for Lawrence Dawsey. In out of his hands, it picked up by Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner Mitchell. And he returns it into Buccaneer territory. The Bucs, though, next time they have it, well, we didn't like that. We'll keep it on the ground. Reggie Cobb breaks off the gainer to the left side. Cobb slicing off left tackle. Cobb off right tackle this time, and the Buccaneers look pretty good. Bucs at the 20. Play action. Vinny to Mark Carrier. Looks smooth, Tom. 7-0 Tampa Bay.
The potential that Vinny Testaverde has. Here he makes the great fake, pulls the defense to the right, doesn't even bother to set his feet, and throws a strike to Carrier for the touchdown.
For the Packers, they have looked better. Just ask Chuck Cecil, who on this punt looks like Beanie. He fumbles it. Roger Jones, Tampa recover. Roger Jones, no, you're going the other way. You got the right team. You going, no, Roger, to the left. Okay, at any rate, you get the point. Cecil redeems himself on the same series. The pass tipped by Leroy Butler. And there is Chuck Cecil, Johnny on the spot, to make the pick. Green Bay has a good field goal kicker, Chris Jackie. 3 for 3 in the first half. Pack lead 9-7 at the half. Third quarter, the Bucs come out throwing. Vinny for Mark Carrier. Chuck Cecil, interference. But on the next play, Vinny, rather than throwing the pick, plenty of time, plenty of space, and Anthony McDowell, the youngster, makes the catch. 14-12, Tampa Bay with the lead. Brett Favre, though, the comeback kid. Look at him run with the separated shoulder and all for a first down. Then look at him move and dart one into Ron Lewis. And then the young man we've been talking about, the tight end, Jackie Harris, touchdown. 19-14, the Pack. The Bucs work their way into field goal range. The veteran, Eddie Murray, from 47. No good. So the Pack retains a 5-point lead, but offsides Pack. Sam says, try another one, Eddie. From 42. I don't know, must have got below freezing because the Bucs never win when it's below 32 degrees. Short. The Pack catches a break. They get another one. They have to punt. Tampa trying to mount a final drive, but Courtney Hawkins fumbles it, and Brian Noble recovers for Green Bay. Chris Jackie, a 52-yarder, but no good as the Pack try to boost their lead to 8. Mike Holmgren watches as he watches Vinny Testaverde in trouble. And for the second time today, Roland Mitchell makes the pick. Really a day of interceptions and fumble returns. And for Sam Weiss, they played pretty well, did Tampa Bay, but not well enough to avoid their 7th loss in their last 8. Brett Favre, there are his numbers. Efficiency, 26 of 41, not a lot of yards. Sterling Sharp caught 9 balls in the game, and that gives him 363 in his career, the most receptions in a 5-year period, breaking Roger Craig's record of 358. The Packers beat the Buccaneers. And Tommy, you know, one small step for man here. Green Bay, they looked like they were going to get left out this year. They're at 6-6.
Well, certainly I think the team of a sign trying to take that next step is that when you don't play really well, you can still be successful, and that's what the Pack did today. And I think what keyed that is Brett Favre. He came out, he had no interception, so he was very careful with the football. But what was more impressive is watching this kid play with that separated left shoulder, because he doesn't just get comfortable in the pocket, try to protect himself with the offensive line, go down needlessly. Here, even though this play was called back, you see him running down the field. He has the chance to go out of bounds, but he doesn't. So I think the whole team tends to get inspired by Brett Favre's play.
You know, something we talked about earlier, Tommy. I mean, young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes, but you're seeing a guy who was a starter for many years at Southern Miss rather than being a redshirt guy and play maybe 1 year. So he has been a starting quarterback and a leader for a long time. Admittedly, the NFL a little different than college ball, but you're seeing that leadership ability. That's why maybe he's ahead of that class at 91 in quarterbacks thus far. Let's go back to the Cleveland-Chicago game as we go inside the numbers. In 26 of their last 27 games, the Browns have forced at least 1 turnover. Overall this year, their turnover differential, forced versus those they've allowed, second best in the league at +12. The Bears, who turned it over 4 times today, are -5. The difference of teams going in different directions. Okay, Wilbur Marshall went every direction today as the Redskin defense had the Cardinals number. They usually do at RFK. We'll be back.
I've guaranteed the
Indianapolis Colts stun the Buffalo Bills. 40-yard field goal, Dean Biasucci. Colts have the only possession of overtime, and a team that's been whopped by the Bills 6 straight times. Ted Marchibroda says hello to his old team, the Colts, in one of the biggest stunners of the year. We'd also like to welcome those of you that have watched the Vikings. Their offense got on track, beat the Rams 31-17. A late charge by Mike Onion Pagel in relief for the Rams came up 2 touchdowns short. The New England Patriots. I mean, usually you don't strike fear in the hearts of teams when you say the New England Patriots, but they were hot going into Atlanta. They were certainly a hotter team than the Falcons. 3 in a row for New England, Rob?
Yeah, thanks to your musical tribute last week, at least we know how to spell Zolak
yes.
now. Scott Zolak, 2 starts, 2 victories. No other Patriots quarterback in history has ever won their first 2 starts. Now, for the Falcons, they've been struggling lately, especially defensively. They had given up 183 points in their last 5 games. Could they possibly pull off the pass? What's this? The Falcons and Billy Joe Tolliver running the option? No, I don't think so. This is more like the Falcons. Steve Broussard, a couple of nice moves in the 8-yard score, 7-0 Falcons. Then Tolliver through the air to Drew Hill. A great catch, and he does get both feet in, a 10-yard score, 14-0 Falcons. Then it would be Broussard again, this time on the screen, going 18 yards for the score, 21-0 Falcons. They led 24-zip at the half, TJ.
Yeah, this is perfect blocking on the screen. You get the kick out outside. You get another block of the guard looking inside to spring the runner.
Not exactly Scott Zolak's day. After the nice scramble, John Stevens drops the pass. Then Zolak having trouble getting out from under center, and he has to eat it. And the Falcons would keep the pressure on. Darian Connor gets the sack. He had 3 sacks, 5 altogether for Atlanta today. Scott Zolak's father, a little more subdued this week. Prime time. He would take over. Wait, I got to look good, man. Help me get with my earring here. Zolak, the pass to Marv Cook, hit by Jeff Donaldson, and Dion, he's there to recover the fumble. He was just beginning, TJ.
Yeah, you watch him here turn on the speed, a pass that Irving Fryer gave up on, and then vintage Dion as he shows the ball to the crowd before he makes a nice run back to the 43.
Yeah, the Pats, they would try everything. The flea flicker back to Zolak. Dion's back and waiting, gets his second catch.
He's looking like a mad dog driving. He's looking like a mad dog.
2 INTs and a fumble recovery for prime time. You know what? Even Jerry Glanville, he can fool around when he pulls Tolliver for Wade Wilson. Even on the sidelines, prime time. He's just a kid at heart. Falcons win big. The rookie Tony Smith with a 29-yard touchdown run in the 3rd quarter. The Falcons' first shutout in 67 games. They held the Patriots to 105 yards, 90 of that on the ground. Scott Zolak completed 9 of 15 passes for 58 yards, but erased 43 of those yards on 5 sacks by the Falcons. Yet another dose of reality for the Jets in their game against the Chiefs. First quarter, Chiefs' first possession. Barry Word never handles the handoff and gets swarmed by the Jets' defense. Next play, Word stuffed again for no gain. But then Dave Craig, he fakes the handoff and then hits J.J. Byrd for 17 yards. Now, why did this play work, TJ?
If you look here, you see 9 men at the line of scrimmage for the Jets. They're definitely going to be able to stop the run, but that's why you play pass.
Chiefs go back to the air. Craig hits Burden, 8 more yards. Still the first drive. Back to the ground. Word wide right, gets 6 yards. After a penalty, Word gets 3 more yards. To this point, the Chiefs' drive lasted 13 plays, 8 minutes, 30 seconds. A sure touchdown, right? Well, not so fast. 3rd and goal at the 2. Craig, play action, throws to a wide-open Kimball Anders, who dropped it. They'd have to settle for a field goal. Meanwhile, Bruce Koslick chose to start Ken O'Brien. 2nd series, O'Brien hit by Benny Thompson and re-injures his right thumb. So re-enter Browning Nagel, his 3rd attempt. And his pass is deflected by Joe Phillips right there. Then, 4th and 2, Nagel's pass again deflected, this time by Neil Smith. Jets offense simply out of sync all day long, but this is the real bad news. Second play of the third quarter, as we showed you earlier, Jets defensive lineman Scott Mercereau and Dennis Byrd collide. On the replay, you can see Byrd's head hits his teammate's shoulder. He was down on the field for about 8 minutes. Mercereau got up. He was okay, but Byrd, he was carted off and taken to Lenox Hills Hospital, where he was examined by their spine team. Jet spokesman said Byrd was experiencing lower body paralysis. First play after the injury, 3rd and 17. Dave Craig, a perfect strike to Willie Davis for 55 yards. That sets up Craig, play action, to keep cash. Chiefs will lead 13-0. Next possession, Craig again the play action. This time to Davis for 17 yards. What could be next, TJ?
Well, the Chiefs and Craig love the play-action pass. Here he gives it, and that patented three-quarter sidearm dart to Tim Barnett for a touchdown.
Chiefs led 20-0. Craig completed his final 10 passes. Had a mighty effective day. 17 of 21, 220 yards, and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. A tough day for the Jets and their fans. Chiefs win by a final of 23-7. It's their first win ever at Giants Stadium. They have won 4 in a row and are now 8-4. But understandably, our thoughts now are with Dennis Byrd. Let's go inside the numbers. We'll find that the Chiefs, they've been taking care of the ball all season long. They haven't lost a fumble in their last 9 games and only 1 turnover period in their last 4. Chiefs an NFL best plus 20 turnover differential for the season. David Klingler, well, he had to face a pretty tough defense. The Steelers' D had him scrambling all day long. Boomer has the highlights next.
Think all camcorders are the same? Look again.
With the rookie, David Klingler. The Steelers today welcomed him with open arms to the National Football League. The good. David Klingler was good as he started. Pass to Jeff Query for 7. Pass to Craig Thompson for 7. Whip Query for 11. Watch him duck under Rod Woodson right here. Nice move. And Klingler also shows he can roll out and tuck the ball. 13-yard gain. On the sidelines, Boomer Esiason would like to play, but he was impressed. 5 for 5 starting for passing for Klingler. But then, the bad. Here come the Steelers, Tom.
Yeah, a rookie has a lot of things to learn. Here he gets flushed in the pocket by David Little. He gets flushed actually out of bounds. The problems that Klingler ran into all day was getting to 2nd and 3rd reads. Sometimes they took the short drop, but when that first guy was covered, he didn't have time to read to the 2nd and 3rd guy. And it resulted in many sacks.
And, oh, by the way, the Steelers rushed more than 3 or 4 guys against the guy making his first start, that's for sure. Then, the ugly Eric Ball. Catch the ball on the fake, or else Charles Davenport's going to pick it up and run for the touchdown. Folks, don't try this at home. 7-0, the Steelers.
Trying to run with it before you've got it, Chris.
Eric couldn't handle the ball. David Chula says, well, let's look at something else on the play sheet. Harold Green, he can run. And he busts for 31 yards, sets up a Jim Breach field goal. But did I say running? Yeah, this year, it's Barry Bananas Foster. The Steelers are going bananas because of him. This 21-yard run enables them to break Franco Harris's single-season mark for the Steelers, a mark that Harris set in a 14-game season. This is game 12 for Foster.
A couple of keys to his game, Chris. One, reading his block. Does a great job of following, and then great explosion just as he sees tacklers coming. Here he takes it down to the 3.
He's not a big guy, but he's powerful. Look at him pull his way into the end zone. 14-3 Pittsburgh at this point for Cowher Power. More sacks. Little and Gerald Williams with a J with the sack. Then Klingler, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The Steelers coming in waves. Carnell Lake freezes him out. Hardy Nickerson is more than a Hardy. 10 sacks. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers setting a club record. Not any team. The Steelers set a record today with 10 sacks. For Boomer, well, you're going to give me one off, Coach. This might have been an interesting one to watch from the sidelines. The Pittsburgh Steelers over David Klingler and the Bengals by the count of 21-9 as the Steelers up their mark to 9-3. The Cardinals at Washington. Phoenix or St. Louis, for that matter, hasn't won at RFK since '78. But Phoenix kicks a field goal on their first drive. Mark Rippon going to the air. Ricky Sanders for 15 yards. Welcome back, Jim Lachey at left tackle.
Jim Lachey here circled. See him force David Braxton outside the protection right there, giving Rippon time to throw the football.
Lachey back, Darrell Green back, and Rippon to Sanders back. That was the Joe Cap flutter ball for 13 yards. Then very pretty play action to Ernest Biner. The D bites, Sanders open, 7-3, Washington.
Rippon here with the great fake. Watch the defense. They flow to the left side of your screen right there. And as Rippon pops Sanders, he could actually walk into the end zone, Chris.
Or at least trot, Tom. Tim Rosenbaugh making a start, just Chandler out with ribs. But his pass picked off by Brad Edwards. And he's off to the races. Is there nobody there? You're right, there is nobody there. Touchdown, 52 yards, Brad Edwards. 14-3, Skins. First play of the second quarter. Phoenix driving, looking for a score. Looking for Butch roll, but no. It's Edwards with the big hit. 2 plays later. Screen pass to Larry Center. Look at Edwards, and Wilbur Marshall stopped Edwards, stopped Centers in his track. Davis misses a field goal. The score remains 14-3 Skins. Later, second quarter, Rosenbaugh to Ricky Prohl shampoo. But it's at Wilbur Marshall picks it up, and look at him go. Switching hands, bowling over with Chase Tackless. Keeps moving forward. And then the lateral. Theodore, Simon, Al Boyd. It's Al Boyd Mays. All the way down to the 18-yard line. 56 yards on the return. And Wilbur says, oh, give me a deep breath.
Redskins, Rippon going to Ryan Middleton. We wondered if he catch it hands or stretch out.
We thought he could have had it. Field goal instead. 20-3 Skins at the half. Joe Gibbs smiling. Why? Because Brad Edwards, his second pick of the day, and he runs on the sidelines. But then, off the hands of Gary Clark, every time you looked up, there was an interception for about 20 minutes of the game. Tim McDonald makes the play. But then, Todd Bowles makes the interception to the Cardinals. And he just could go all the way. But he doesn't. Still a nice return down to the 34-yard line. It's 27-3 Skins. Rosenbaugh bewildered. And watch this. Joe Gibbs can't contain. Brian Mitchell lines up at quarterback, but yet they fight anyway. It's the draw play. And look at Mitchell run 17 yards. 2 minutes later, Rippon to Gary Clark. Touchdown. 31 yards, 34-3. The Skins. And then he's done it once. He's done it twice. Why not the hat trick for Brad Edwards? So what's the end of this play? Edwards again with a good return. He is knocked down by Larry Centers, who's little self-centers on this play. Hey, we made a great play. And look at the Skins. Hey, Larry, look at the scoreboard. See that? See that? There's where you should be looking. 41-3. Washington finally with the laugher when they needed it most. They beat old friend Joe Bugle and up their mark now to 7-5. So for one day at least, the Skins are back. Tim Rosenbaugh, I mean, he's going to be a good QB. He's often injured. Today, though, he picked some tough times to get picked off.
Yeah, he did, Chris. Some bad decision-making when he had a chance to score and turn things around for the Cardinals. He threw for 255 yards today, but at times when they really came close to the goal line, bad decisions. And not only that, the kind of decisions that put the Redskins in a position to score, kind of like in basketball where you're going to get the layup, the other team steals the ball, 4-point turnaround, only in this case a 14-point turnaround.
The Skins defense, 5 picks, a fumble recovery, 2 sacks, and they couldn't go any farther. I mean, it's 6-5. They had to get going now. Joe Gibbs imploring the veterans all week, let's get it going. Yeah, add Jim Lachey and Darrell Green, and you're all of a sudden a better ball club. As we go inside the numbers, a return to the Bengals-Steelers game. Cincinnati today scored 9 points. They were sacked 10 times. Ouch, Beb. When we return, speaking of ouch, Beb, Dan Marino facing the vaunted New Orleans defense. He was down often. We'll show you what happened. Stay with us. 2,000 yards for his career. Could that happen tonight? Raiders at the Chargers, 8 Eastern, in your face. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. A pair of 8-3 squads, the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints, met at the Superdome, but really 8-3 squads playing at different levels. New Orleans does not dazzle you, but this season, 1992, if you're solid, that means you're at or near the top, and that's the way the Saints are playing football. Ricky Jackson, 11.5 sacks. Pat Swilling, 9 sacks. The target, Dan Marino. And early on, Marino felt the heat of number 56 Swilling and threw the ball away. From midfield, Dan, a great pass to that young man on the sideline. Meanwhile, as Marino had trouble early, Bobby Hebert, throw it, Bobby, throw it. Nice catch by Eric Martin for 20 yards. Hebert steps up, finds Martin for 18. Hebert looking to quit early, streaking down the sidelines for 32 yards.
Yeah, early here in the slot, goes to the outside. The defender goes around, falls behind, never actually gets a chance to look back for the football. Stephen Bragg early made the catch on it.
And that sets up Dalton Hilliard. 6th straight game. He scored a touchdown. Saints lead at 7-0. Don Shula says, well, points are going to be tough. But with Dan Marino, he can ad-lib, can't he? Such a quick release. And with Swilling darting in on him, zip, the ball gets loose. To Mark Clayton, he fumbles, but it recovered by the Dolphins. Now, Marino to Clayton, and Mark just looking to try and get some things going. You won't see him make plays like this too often. He goes back about 7 yards. Well, a lot of Saints. Good try, though, Mark. And then to Mark Hicks for a first down. Now look at Marino. See, people think he doesn't move well, but he has a couple of steps, zips up to Tony Martin inside the 10-yard line. And then the short drop, touchdown. Mark Duper, 7-7 at the half. That's that real poor start. Not a bad end of the first half. 17 of 21 for $153 in the touchdown. But Jim Mora's defense, especially at home, led by Pat Swilling, Tommy.
Yeah, the strength of Pat Swilling, his speed to the outside. Here he goes around Richmond Webb wide. Does a great job of chopping the ball out from Dan Marino, and Robert Goff picks it up. He is at it to the end zone.
They call him a pig. He pigged out on the touchdown. 17-10 New Orleans. More problems for Marino. Overthrow to Duper. Vince Buck picks it up, and he just tracks down the sidelines with a convoy. 24-13, the Saints.
Mark Duper here does a good job of getting up in the air, but for some reason he doesn't get extended. He doesn't get his arms up, and as Buck makes the pick right there, what a fake he puts on Tony Page to get to the end zone.
Marino and Duper talk about it on the sidelines. The Saints are marching. Jim Silk Wilt with the dump of Marino. Then on the rollout, Ronaldo Turnbull. It's a fumble. Miami recovers it 5 times. Dan Marino sacked today, the most he's ever been sacked in a game. Richmond Webb and Keith Sims and Burt Widener, they knew that they were in for it today against Swilling, Jackson, and company of the Saints. Boy, the New Orleans Saints defense outscored both their offense and the Miami offense today. The Saints win it 24-13, and afterwards, Marino assessed his day.
Well, I felt like I was throwing the ball well, except for one, a couple throws here and there. But, the one throw that hurt is I overthrew Duper on the curl pattern and, went right in the guy's hands, and he scored a touchdown. I mean, you got to try to overcome those things, but that's the glaring thing, that as far as my performance, I think, is concerned.
That means our front seven played a hell of a game, and our defensive backs really covered, because some of those sacks could have been coverage sacks, but we had good pressure on him all day. It was a total overall effort. Our guys did a great job of pressuring and covering, and when you can do that, you're going to be successful.
Well, it's not as if, Tommy, he's never been pressured before, but yet he was harried from the get-go with Marino.
Pat Swilling certainly has a good nose on this game. I think the key is the outside linebackers. Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson put tremendous pressure on Dan Marino. At times, you saw things you'll never see here. Keith Jackson taking out of the pass patterns and put in as a blocker to try to protect Dan Marino. So you take 3-4 guys, try to block the 2 outside linebackers. You don't have enough people in the offense to make plays.
You know what New Orleans also does not do, like the Chiefs in the other conference? Boy, they don't hurt themselves. They may not get it going on offense much, but they don't turn the ball over and they let their defense do the walking, and that's what happened today. And the Saints, if they weren't in the same division with the Niners, we might be really talking them up. Well, they are on the verge. Make no mistake about that. Dan Marino, first 9 games, sacked a total of 11 times. Last 3 games, 4 by Buffalo, 4 by Houston, 5 by New Orleans, 13 times. When we return, Buffalo Bills have beaten up on the Colts the last 6 times. The Colts, do they have other ideas? We'll ask Bruce.
I was already late for my meeting when my flight landed. Lucky for me, someone left a courtesy car. I had to get the dollar rent-a-car pass.
Not, but
yes, anything could happen in that magical week. And you know what's happened the last 6 times? Not too good. It wasn't pretty when they met in week 3 with the Bills crushing the Colts 38-zip, and that was with Jeff George in the lineup. They would have to go, the Colts would, with Jack Trudeau because Jeff George still out with an injury. As we take a look at highlights from this one, and of course it was Jack Trudeau. He would perform well. Scrambling, Trudeau finds Charles Arbuckle for the completion. That led to a 52-yard Biasucci field goal. Jim Kelly, he had his problem, misfiring long to Don Beebe, then passing wide of James Lofton, and then getting the pass deflected by Sam Clancy. Then the pass, well, to his teammate, Chris Hill, but he was out of bounds. Only good news, Don Beebe has the ball fall literally right into his arms. That led to a 52-yard Steve Christie field goal. Second half, Kelly got hot, going to Beebe for 12 yards and for 15 yards, then long to Beebe. He beats Ashley Ambrose with a 65-yard score, 10-3 Bills. Bills began to take over. Bruce Smith in quickly for the sack. They would add a field goal to take a 10-point lead. Colts fans, they make a plea to the heavens. Would their prayers be answered? Jack Trudeau leading the Colts. The pass to Arbuckle for the first down. Again to Arbuckle. Look at this one-handed snatch. That sets up Rodney Culver. A 4-yard touchdown run. Bills still in the lead by 3. Just over 3 minutes to go. Kelly, he's picked off by Tony Stargell off the tip. 1:07 left in the game. Dean Biasucci, 23-yarder. It's good. Tied at 13. We're going to overtime. The first possession in overtime, Trudeau finds Jesse Hester. A big gain, 24 yards. The Colts prime for the upset. That sets up Biasucci, 40 yards. It is good. The Colts win 16-13. Go on with your bad self, Coach. In OT. Said Marcia Brody, you think he's happy? Oh, yeah, just a little bit. 16-13 on OT. We kid you not. The Colts with the victory. The Buffalo Bills now 9-3. Jack Trudeau passed for a season-high 337 yards. With that in mind, let's hit our honor roll, if you will. 100-yard rushers. 3 making our honor roll, including Thermal in that loss to the Colts. You know, Jerry Rice, he's made our honor roll a time or two.